So here's our basic buck sweep from the gun, and it's your standard buck sweep. We'll talk about the blocking rules here in a minute, but everybody's basically blocking down. We're kicking out with the play side guard. We'll talk about his footwork. His footwork is very important. Our tackle is blocking the safety over the hole, and our quarterback's going to read. In this particular defense, we're either going to read the 5 technique. If we got a 3 technique, we're going to read the 3 technique. We'll talk about his reads here in a little bit. But again, the halfback should be a yard in front of the quarterback, and he's got to come in a straight line down the line. And we'll talk about his technique in a little bit here. But from this position, the quarterback, again, can read this. This is where we get the big plays. If we're getting this and we're chasing it down, the quarterback is going to disengage, and he's pulling it. The other formation we like to run it into is our twins type look here. It really puts the defense in a bind. Typically, we'll get something like this. If we get something like this where they don't have a linebacker reduced out, or the safety is not up there to be a threat as a flat defender, we're going to run our bubble screen. And we talked to bubble screen at length in our first video series, so we won't talk a lot about it in this series. We're blocking 1, and we're running away from number 2. So our number 2 is our flat defender. In this particular defense, it would either be the Will or the Bandit. If the free safety is cheating up 7 yards or less than 7 yards, we'll count the free safety as our number 2 or flat defender. We count from the outside, 1, 2. The next guy in would be the 3rd defender. Either one of these would be the 3rd defender. We count it this way. It's easier for our quarterbacks just to kind of look out there and see who's the 1 and the 2. We always got to identify that flat defender. So a lot of times we'll get this Bandit to reduce out, and then we'll count him as the number 2 defender. So again, our reads, if you saw the first video series, is we are reading the flat defender, or number 2, and the quarterback he knows this guy, he knows this athlete. If he can beat him on the bubble screen, then we are throwing the bubble, and that's our read. We used to say if he's a certain distance, but he knows this guy. He grew up with this kid. These guys know each other's ability, so if he can outrun this guy, we can throw the bubble screen. So here's the blocking roughly. If we saw this type of defense, this 3-4 type of defense, we're blocking down. Our rules are basically the same. Down, down. We'll talk about the rules here in a minute. Whenever we get a shade nose, this is very hard for our center. You could try cutting him, but it's hard to snap the ball and block the nose at the same time. So what we're going to do is sandwich the nose, and then we're taking our steps. We're kicking out. Now the problem with this defense is we have a 3 technique. So we're going to talk about his reads a little bit later, but we would have to read this guy because he is unblocked. So now what this does is we make a steal call. We're going to steal one from the defense. So quick tackle makes the call, and we are blocking the Will backer. We're blocking out on all steal calls. If we're chasing, then we are not handing the ball off. We are keeping the ball, and we are pursuing up here. Now, you're thinking, what about that Bandit? He's just sitting in the hole. Well, if he's sitting in the hole, well, that's good. That means he's just sitting there waiting for us. First off, we'll throw the bubble screen if we're not going to reduce this guy out. If they do put some guy up here where it's a threat, maybe they roll up the safety and keep this guy in the hole, then we got to run it from under center. Under center, you have that fullback protecting back on that 3 technique, and if this guy's just going to sit there, we don't run the buck sweep from this gun only. We run it from the center, under center as well, and I highly recommend that you don't just run it from in the gun, because it's the trendy thing to do. We're about 60% gun, and we're about the rest traditional sets. So we'll talk about the reads here in a little bit, but that's generally what you'll have to do if we have a 3 technique. A lot of the spread teams are going to this, is reading that 3 technique. You get some big plays. Typically what happens is you get this pull, Bandit pulls with him. This is a 3-5 defense. We don't see a lot of it in our conference. I know it's very popular. We feel we get some pretty good pretty good down blocks. Some of the 3-5 coaches I've talked to would probably adjust over. Anytime we got a head up nose, we're not going to need any help from the strong tackle. We won't need to sandwich him in general, but we can sandwich the nose with the strong tackle. So we think we can either cut him or we can just block him head up. Wing would probably come down to the sandbacker. Again, if they stay in this, we have some pretty good angles. We think they're going to have to adjust somehow on this, but you get pretty decent angles right here. So we would probably either block him head on, or we would read him. If he's slanting a lot, we would treat it like a steal call, and we would just block out just like if we had a 3 technique. But if we can, if he's sitting there reading, or if he's a 5 technique, we'll come across. Well, we're running this fast. He's coming across as fast as we can. This guy is giving us problem. We'll either cut him or we will make a steal call and read him. And again, if the outside linebackers are bothering you, take this guy, line him up over here, and run the bubble screen. I want to talk real quick about how we align. We always have a strong guard, strong tackle, quick guard, quick tackle. And the reason we do that is to maximize our reps in practice. When we're running our buck sweep, our strong guard is always the kick out guy. Our quick guard is usually the wraparound guy. So we can, by doing this, it's twofold. We can put better personnel there. We don't have the luxury of having a lot of great athletes that can do a lot of things. So that allows us, our strong tackle can be our bigger guy, because generally he's blocking down a lot. We run a lot of buck sweep. This guy can be a little bit more bigger physical guys. We like linebacker types, fullback types that can run and kick out and that like to hit. This has to be our best lineman. Our quick guard is usually our best lineman. He does generally all our trapping. He has to do a little bit of a longer pull, so that you have to have a little bit more athletic guard there, but typically he is our best athlete or our lineman that could run the best. We can keep a quicker guy right in this spot right here. So this tackle spot, he doesn't have to be as big. He can be a little bit more mobile. He can be a little bit littler guy. So he's running and trapping a lot. So these 3 guys here are generally our athletes who can run. These guys right in here are our guys who can get a little bit bigger, a little more physical. They're the bigger guys that can push people around. They're not as mobile. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about the blocking assignments. When you run the buck sweep, you got to spend a lot of time on the blocking assignments. So we found out that the most important block is the down block, especially from the wing and the tight end. If you have your wing and your tight end get their block, generally the play's going to work, even if your 2 guards have bad blocks. So really got to coach the wing up and the tight end and the down blocks. You would think that the down block would be an easy block, but it's not. It takes a lot of technique. I get a lot of calls from people saying, well, we're getting too much penetration. So generally, if you're getting too much penetration, it's not your line splits. It's usually your footwork on your down blocks. You're not stepping flat with your inside foot, and you're not preventing that penetration to your inside gap. So we'll talk a little bit about that and some of the techniques we use. So here's our wing blocking assignment. Our rules are gap down backer, which means we got to protect that inside gap. So he's got the play side D gap. Nothing can get inside that. We can't have penetration. His job is to prevent the penetration and seal the 9 technique or the defensive end at the line of scrimmage. Now, if it's a stalemate, great, we win. But we can't have penetration. That defensive end cannot get penetration and make the play bow out. So it's really key that we step flat and we prevent that guy from getting upfield. If the defense is able to get upfield, it ruins our path that our guard is going to take. We want to kick out the first man past the wing, and if we get penetration and make him bubble out a little bit, it's going to blow up the play. So we have to spend a lot of time getting this perfect footwork and getting him to prevent the penetration. Now, if the end loops outside, that's fine too, but we can't have upfield. That's the bad thing. So if he does loop out, we just stay on our path and go to the next defender. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a minute. All right, so down block on the first defender inside, job is to prevent penetration in the D gap. So his first step is a 45-degree step inside to the tight end's outside heel. So his first step is aiming with his inside foot to the tight end's outside heel. And we got to get it down quick, and at that point we are loading the arms. So he is right here. His first step is going to be with that inside foot, and it's going to come flat right about where the tight end's heel is. So his first step, inside foot, getting it down as quick as he can. Second step is going to be slightly upfield to work on covering the defender. So if we get our first step down, we prevent the penetration, so we can seal him. We also want to get we'll talk about the head and hand placement in here in a minute, but the second step is important because we want to seal the end off. First step at the tight end's heel, flat. Second step's going to wheel around, and we want to get him covered. So if you can imagine this defender's right here, we want to slowly get this foot right in here, get our head across him so we can't get penetration, and then eventually we're going to work our feet here and here so we can't get outside. All right, so our hand placement. We're going to take our inside hand and we're going to jam it into the sternum as hard as we can. We're loading our hands. First inside hand is into the sternum. That's going to help stop the momentum of the defensive end. His outside hand is pinning the elbow. We got this technique from Ohio State. So we're going to take that outside hand and we're going to grab that elbow, and then we're going to initially seal that off. What happens is that prevents the defensive end from using his hands. D linemen are great at using their hands these days. So we want to prevent that defender from ripping his hands up and using his hands and getting his hands on that tight end to disrupt the tight end's path. If we grab that elbow, it prevents that. After we grab the elbow, we're not going to sit and just grab onto it. That would be illegal. So we're still in the frame of the body, so it's still a legal play. But after we grab that elbow, then we're working our way up and we're working our flipper up. So as our steps, and then we cover, we're going to take this outside hand. The defender is going to try to get his hands on this tight end. We're actually grabbing that elbow tricep area. Then we're getting our flipper up. So we want to work our head placement, and our coaching point is we want to listen to his heartbeat. So if you put your helmet in your ear hole right where the defender's heart is, that's generally a good head position. Neck is bowed, and we're not looking at the grass, we're looking at the sky. So after you pin your defender, you want to cover him up with your feet, and we want to prevent him from spinning outside. There's a lot of different techniques you can use to prevent him from spinning outside. Some people use the basketball spin. We're going to use our elbow after we grab that tricep like we talked about. We should pin that tricep right there, and then our elbow's coming up. And if we work our feet to here and here, he shouldn't be able to spin off us. All right? If he does spin off us, we just got to get our feet moving, and we're going to take that elbow and stick it in the small of his back if he does that. And we just got to keep moving. If it does get to be a problem, then we can do the basketball box out spin with him. So the key to the wing is, and this is the hardest thing we have to coach him on, is never chase a defender looping outside. You're going to get this occasionally. If you get good at Bucksweep, you're going to have the defenders try to loop outside. So what you want to do is stay on your path, and you want to look for the linebacker that's going to replace him. So the thing we get the most of is we get this good hard down step, flat step right there, and all of a sudden this defensive end is gone. Well, the wing's first instinct is, that's my guy. Well, he doesn't have a guy. He has an area. He's blocking a zone. So he's got to stay on his steps regardless. And this is the hardest thing you'll have to teach the wings, is step down flat. Your other one is coming to to wall him off, and if he loops outside you, your next step is stay on your path, and you're going to pick up the next thing that shows, which is usually a linebacker, and then you're going to wall him off. We'll pick up the defensive end with the pulling guard. So again, never chase a defender and stay on your path. It's very key to remind the wing time in and time out is to always stay on your path. Don't chase defenders, and footwork is key with those wings. You really have to work a lot with those. Now, if you get a head up technique, the wing's got to recognize that, and generally when we get a head up on the tight end, what he's doing is head up so he can slant across him. All right? So he's going to take his same steps. His second step will try to cover him up. When he sees this guy go away, the tight end will pick him up because the tight end is staying on his path, and he will notice he is gone. When he's gone, we stay on our path, go to the next level, which is a Mike linebacker. So when this happens, we got to take a step. Step one, step two. Our third step's going to be with this inside foot, and we're working up a little bit more. So his path looks a little more like this. He's stepping flat, and then he's climbing to the backer. If he stays on this pass right here, it looks good on paper, but in the real world, he'll scrape over the top. So that's another technique you have to work on. If your end goes away, your third step has got to be upfield, and it doesn't have to be a dominating block. You just have to get in his way. The third thing we'll see is a head up on the wing. So he is head up on the wing for one reason, to disrupt the wing's block. So he's got to be, what we'll talk about the wing is to show the defensive end your back. So same steps, he's stepping flat, his other one's coming, second foot, outside foot is coming to cover up anybody. And then if we get contact, he is going to drop his outside arm and show him his back so he can get by him. You can think of it as he is dipping and ripping past this end. He pretends he's a defender and he's dipping and ripping and trying to get to the quarterback. All right, so again, on your third step, if we don't have any initial defender to block, we have to start climbing for the linebackers that are going to be scraping over the top. Here's a good down block by the wing. So notice how his feet are covering up the 9 technique when he finishes his block. We'll try to get it so we can see that. Here's our wing right here. Now this is when we, this was like 3 years ago when we started, we were a little bit more square. Now we're tilted in so we can, we get a better down block. All right, so he's taking a good first flat step. His second step is going to come around and cover. And you can see his feet right there is exactly what we want. Boom. You can see his second step should be more out here, but he's going to make a really good recovery here in a minute. Okay, keep your feet moving. Now he's got a pretty good base. We would like to get his head a little bit lower so he's listening to the heartbeat. All right, but now he's in a pretty good position. Both of his feet, and this is how we want to end up on our blocks. We want to get both feet perpendicular to the line of scrimmage, and we want to get our head across. And we got him sealed off, and we're around the corner. One more time, the wings. Now our guard didn't take a very good path on this. This is a technique we use called a stay call. We typically do not have a problem with the A-gap run through if he is staying back at his 4 and 5 yards. We're generally run it fast enough, we're by him. However, if he starts sneaking up, that's a problem for us. So we'll make a stay call, and essentially what happens is this guy would kick out first guy past the wings block, our backside guard's going to loop around on here. So essentially we're exchanging responsibilities. Our guard is going to stay, block the blitzing A gap. He's going to exchange responsibilities and kick out. He just doesn't take a very good path, but still effective. See him staying. Second most important guy in the play is the tight end. You got to get this good down block. And his technique is generally, we teach one down block technique, and it's the same as the wings. His rule is gap down backer. So basically he is sealing off the C gap. He has got to prevent any kind of penetration in the C gap. So we're blocking down on the first defender inside. If there's not a defender inside, he's going to go to the backer. And then same technique as the wing. On that third step, you got to start climbing for the backers. All right, so his first step is a 45-degree step inside. You got to get it down quickly and load the arms, just like the wing. Second step is slightly upfield to work on covering the defender. If there's no down defender, then you got to start climbing. So if we got an inside guy, this is generally what we like. If we get a 5 technique, we get such good angles, it's easier for our tight end. But anyways, he's got to get his foot down quick and flat. So his foot's down flat. Second foot is going to be slightly covering him up. And our hand placement, just like the wings, our inside hand's going to shoot to his sternum. And he's loading that hand, and he's got to jar him good. Second hand is going to grab that elbow, tricep, bicep region, so he can't use his hand. After we get that initial grab where he can't use his hand, we're popping up our flipper. Our flipper comes up, and then again, we're just like the wing. We're trying to work our feet across. Head is across, listening to the heartbeat. All right, so the hand placement, same thing. Hand inside. Outside hand is pinning the elbow, and the head placement, just like the wing, listening to the heartbeat. So after pinning the defender, you got to cover the defender with your feet and not let him spin outside. All right, if we get a look like this, where we have a 9 technique, he is stepping down flat, always stepping down flat, and you're always taking your second step at a roughly 45 degrees. If there's nothing there, your third step has to climb. Now initially we're going to try to block the Sam, but we rarely get there to the Sam. Sam would usually be scraping outside because they know we run a lot of buck sweep. So after that, if we can get to the Sam, great. Otherwise, we are building the wall. We're making a nice little wall here with the tight end and the wing, and we're going to seal off anything inside. On this third case here, if he's head up for a reason. His head up is, he's probably slanting inside. So that is a, he's either going to slant inside or he's going to keep his hands on you. If he's just hands on reading you, that's fine. The wing's going to come pick him up. But again, we got to show him our back, just like the wing. We're going to dip and rip, show this defender your back, lean into him, rip through, and then get vertical, looking for a backer trying to scrape over the top. All right, so here's a good example by the tight end. Notice how he's going to get skinny through the hole. We call that getting skinny, is showing him your back. And then he's going to climb to the tight end. This is a good look of our tight end and wings technique if you got a guy that's getting his hands on you. So we got a head up guy here. He's got to kind of get skinny, showing him his back. All right, this is one of our empty sets that we talked about in the first video series. Okay, so you can see right away our first foot was down. Our second foot should be coming around a little bit quicker, but you can notice he's starting to twist his back, dropping his shoulder so he can rip by this defender. Okay, you notice he got by him. His second step, or his third step rather, he's going to start climbing. Now these guys got a hold because our quarterback's making a little head fake there, and we were able to climb and get to the play side backer in this particular case. Now we would like to see him, after he gets by, covering the skinny back, show him your back, climbing, and then we want to see the feet here and here. So eventually, if he does it right, we want 1 foot there and 1 foot there to seal this guy off, to make a little wall here. Now, if you notice our wing, this guy's getting hands-on. When we ever get hands-on, you got an easy block. All right? Prevent the penetration and get your feet and get him covered. Do not allow him to penetrate, otherwise this guy has to belly out and the play doesn't work. Okay, wings got him covered. You can see right here we're starting to work our feet around. We just don't quite get all the way around. Keep your feet moving. Big common mistake we see a lot of is you're not keeping your feet moving after contact. Okay, so right here we should be working and working, getting those feet by. Okay, one more time. Running back does a good job of setting up his blocks. All right, strong tackles technique, basically the same as the other two. When we teach this, when we do our tackle circuit, we two platoon, so we do a tackling circuit with our defense. Our offense does a blocking circuit where we teach everybody how to down block. That includes quarterbacks, wide receiver. Everybody learns how to down block because we never know who's going to be playing that wing spot. That's a spot where we can put wide receivers, running backs, extra tight end. So everybody's got to learn how to down block. So our strong tackle, his job is to gap down or possibly gap down linebacker. If there's a zero technique nose, we're going to sandwich that nose if the center needs help. So we're going to down block on the first down defender inside. The job is to fill for the pulling guard or to sandwich the nose. That's his two jobs. There's a 3 technique, then we're going to use the same down technique as the tight end and the same technique as the wing. If you're sandwiching the nose, you will step flat down the line and you're going. You just stay flat down the line and you're going to, don't let any linebackers cross your face. Here's what we mean. So we get a 3 technique. We're stepping flat. We're trying to cover with our second foot, coming around. Hand to the sternum, other one to the elbow. Get your flipper up, drive, get your head across, listen to the heartbeat. That's the technique we always strive for. And it's not an easy technique. You have to work it a lot. When we get this kind of a defense, this eagle look or this 3-4 look, we're going to sandwich this nose. It's too hard of a block for the center to make, to shotgun snap it. So we are setting or posting the nose up. He's coming down as flat as he can, and he's sealing them off right here. And again, we want to get our feet here and our feet here. And this is a kill shot on the nose. Typically, when we have a head-up nose, generally we can block him. If we're struggling, we can cut him. The other option is if he's a very good nose, we can come down flat and sandwich him. But in general, we would take our flat step, our second step's here, and we're starting to climb on the mic. If he fast flows out of there, we'll just go to the next level and we'll pick up the will. Here's a good block by the strong tackle where he sandwiches the nose. This is a team with a shade nose. Okay. Here's our shade nose right here. And this kid is, again, at our strong tackle spots, we can use a bigger, slower guy. Okay, so he doesn't take the greatest steps. He should be a little bit flatter, but you can see our center is slightly beat. You know, this is a pretty good defender. He's a little bit quicker than our center. He's got him beat a little bit, but he's posting him up. He's preventing the penetration, and our tackle comes through, cleaning up. Now, typically when we get something like this, if we're having a hard time, this is where this defense, if we get that shade nose to the strong side and we want to run our buck sweep, our strong tackle can shorten his splits down a little bit. All right, so again, if you got the first video series, we're talking about tempo. We get up the line as quick as we can. This is one of our no plays. meaning we're going to try to get them to jump off sides. If they won't jump, then we're going to audible into a better play. So right now we have a 3 technique. Our strong tackle is going to pick him up. This is going to be a buck sweep from our Wildcat or our empty sets. You can see our tackle is a little bit too high. We want a little lower. But when you're 6'6", 6'7", it's a little bit harder for these guys to get a little bit lower. It takes a lot of reps to get him to get low, those bigger guys. But again, we want the bigger, stronger guy right there so we can get him sealed off. But he does a good job of staying with his blocks. Again, strong tackle, blocking down on the 3 technique. He makes a good initial first move or first step. And he initially was good low. Keep your feet moving. And that's just the buck sweep with our quarterback. If you got the first video series, you'll know that we got options on this. We are still reading, in this particular defense, we would be reading the 5 technique. So if he's coming, we still can read him. We also have the bubble screen option. We're running a bubble screen over here, or we can run our force screen we talked about in the first video series. Okay, so one last time, check out the wings block and the tight ends block. If we get a good block by those 2 guys, generally the play is going to work. Okay, so we didn't take the greatest footwork, but we have pretty good hand placement. We're grabbing that elbow. We want to be a little bit lower, drop our hips, and get our head across. But both of them do a good job of keeping their feet moving when they're engaged with the defender. Here's our strong guards technique. We're going to use this should be square pull technique. We're going to make a square pull technique. We get this, we've changed our technique from year to year depending on what the defense does to us. What we're getting a lot of, and this is why we've moved to this technique, is we're getting a lot of times the 9 technique or someone outside the wing is really closing down quick. They're really squeezing down. So we found out that we need to use this technique to get to that guy a little bit quicker. So we got this from some of the spread teams. They use a square pull technique, and the technique is we're going to step at 5 o'clock. So we're drop stepping. If this is the guard, we are drop stepping at 5 o'clock. So his foot is pointing that way. We're turning, we're running the opposite goal line. Our second foot is going to come and it's going to cross over. All right, so our shoulders are generally square to the line of scrimmage, so we call that a square pull technique. So we cross over, keeping the shoulders square. Generally, they're not perfectly square; they're more angled, 45. But the theory is we're going to keep them square so he can look for blitzing, and we can get there a lot quicker. So your job is to kick out the first defender past the wings block, and we're after that 5 o'clock step, crossover, we are climbing. We're starting to climb right away, getting the head up in the hole. So the key is, and the coaching point is wing, tight end, we're crossing over, we're climbing. If this is the defender showing, say it's a rover flying up there, we want to get the head up into here to get our head up into the hole. That's the coaching point we use. And the most common mistake we'll get is that defender, as he's blocking that, he's coming by, we're going to just try to make a big hit and just the defender will scrape inside and blow up the play. That's what we do not want to do. You got to teach these guys is it isn't a kill shot. They don't get a pancake block every single time they run this. They got to just work their head up into here, get this guy to run around the block. When we run around that block, we get our running back hitting it up inside. So get your head up in the hole and step on the defender's toes is the other technique we use. A lot of times what we'll see is this guy wants to get a pancake block, and he just runs up and he launches himself from 3 or 4 feet away. We got to get up on that defender's toes, drop our hips, and get our head up into that hole. If the defender is squeezing hard where you cannot kick him out, then we're going to log him. So we'll get this guy scraping off the wings block, and he's bending it, and he's going to wrong arm it. We're going to be here, we're hitting, and then we're punching inside with the sternum, and then we're whipping our hips around and we're logging him. We'll talk about that here in a second. Quick guard, we're going to pull 2 steps flat and fast past the center, and your steps are at 3 o'clock. And again, we're going to go over this in detail. So if this is the quick guard, he's stepping at 3 o'clock straight down the line with his inside foot. That's step 1, flat and fast. His second step is going flat and fast. His third step, he's going to push off this outside foot, and we're getting depth. We're going to try to get glide back. We call this a glide step, like a speed skater. So we're pushing off and we're gliding like a speed skater when he takes his speed skating steps. Some of you warm state coaches might not know what a speed skater looks like. We get a lot of that up here in the Pacific Northwest. So we're going to read the strong guard's block and depth. We're going to try to get as deep as that guard right there. So we're gliding and our eyes are on that front side guard, getting as deep as that guard. It's very important. Now, if this guard kicks out, we are going to pin our chin. That means our head and eyes and our chin is on this upfield shoulder, and we are looking inside for the first threat, generally the linebacker scraping over the top. If we get a log block, the play side guard, we're getting a lot of squeezing down, and he has to log. Then we are wrapping around him flat and fast, getting depth. We read that, get around outside. And there's going to be 2 things. We might get a linebacker to show up here where we're going to kick him out, or we might be able to, if we're on our horse, pin the chin and loop around. We'll talk about that, what happens to our running back when that happens. So we're going to teach these 3 as a unit, the 2 guards and the halfback as a unit, and then we'll talk a little bit about blocking and what happens. All right, so the halfback is going to line 1 foot in front of the quarterback. You're responsible for the mesh with the quarterback. So the quarterback has a read to do. So we are meshing. So 1 yard in front, the quarterback's going to get the ball and reach it out. It's the halfback's job to work to that mesh. Now, out of shotgun in high school, we don't get perfect snaps all the time. So that halfback's got to alter his path to get into the mesh. The quarterback is eyeing the 5 technique or the 3 technique, depending on the defense. So it's responsibility of the halfback to mesh. Now, if the quarterback gives the ball to you, you're going to find the quick guard immediately. That is your key. We're going to find that backside guard, and he is your read. And what we like to teach our halfbacks is to grab the jersey and stay on his outside hip, and we'll show you why. So as this guard pulls, he's coming flat and fast, 1 step, 2 step, then he's gliding. At that point, you're going to grab that jersey. He should be facing this way, and we're going to try to grab that jersey right here. In this particular case, it would be with our left hand. And why we do this is this guard comes around and wraps. It acts like a water skier. It's going to whip you around. So we don't teach we teach to pound the feet. We teach more of grab that jersey. He'll take you to the promised land. He's going to whip you around. He'll make you get that 90-degree angle. We teach this technique to all our younger kids. Grab that jersey. He'll get whipped around. And our varsity kids, if they're experienced, we make them grab the jersey on every play until at least game 3. And that's going to get you the perfect distance from the play. Typically what happens is this guy's following too far behind. He gets to block. It's a hard block to maintain. You're too far behind. He's able to scrape off and make the play. But if you're in there tight with that guard, and you're right there on his outside hips, when you get that click of the pads, then we're bursting. So we're going to read the quick guards block. And be prepared to pound your feet and make that 90-degree cut. Again, it's going to help your halfbacks out a lot if you grab that jersey. That'll teach them the correct distance to be from that guard and it'll be the correct cut-up point. Now, if you get a double kick out, then we're going to wind it back. And the big coaching point we have is when you hear that click of the pads, we're going to burst. So typically what we'll get, we're kicking out here, past the wings block, flat and fast, get depth to the guard, depth to the guard, and we're wrapping it up. So again, we're grabbing the jersey, in this case would be the left hand, the ball's in the outside on the right hand. It's going to whip us around. You're going to hear this little click of the pads, and then boom. That's when you accelerate your feet as fast as you can. That's the hardest thing you'll have to teach your halfbacks is to, when you hear that click, is just blindly burst as fast as you can. I think they get a little nervous at first. They just want to sit and tippy toe up through into the hole. But you got to click, boom, go as fast as you can, and you're going to get these big runs. So if we get a double kick out, and we often get this, we get a kick out, we're here. All of a sudden this Mike, we don't quite get this. We're scraping over the hole. He might come too fast. And we're getting a double kick out. Whenever this happens, we're still grabbing the jersey. We get this double kick out. We'll end up pounding our feet. And then we're winding it back. And we're winding it all the way back here. Because what has happened is they're cheating. They've noticed we've been running a lot of Bucksweep, so they're trying to cheat and get to the outside as quick as you can. That means this hole right here is going to develop. So another hard thing you have to teach the running backs, and once they do it and they'll get a big run, they'll do it forever. But you got to keep drilling it and drilling it and drilling it, and do this in your individual drills as well. So double kick out by both guards, we're winding it back. All right, so this is good footwork and path by the strong guard. The common mistake by the halfback is to set up your blocks and be patient. You're going to notice the guard is, or the halfback isn't too patient on this one. He would have had a bigger play. But let's watch our strong guards technique. So here's our strong guard, leaning a little bit. Okay, we get a good seal. We had a double wing on this time. Pretty good path. We had our square pull technique. Boom, we opened up that 5 o'clock. Now watch his shoulders are going to try to stay square to the line of scrimmage. Okay, the other foot got down. Now we're going to start climbing as quick as we can past that guy. One more time. Climb, climb, climb. First defender that shows past the wings block. So right now, another reason why we like that square pull technique is it gets our eyes looking down the field all the time. We used to take the 2 steps and stuff, but that it was a little bit slow for us. And plus it got our eyes looking this way. We want to get our eyes looking downfield. Okay, climb, 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 kick out. This is a great job of getting the head up into the hole. Our hands in the sternum, the other one's on the bicep. Okay, we got a good seal right there. Now, if you notice the halfback is in good position, you should be grabbing that jersey. That's going to whip him around. Now, there's another reason why you want to have him grab that jersey. If he is grabbing this jersey right at this point, he'd be in good position. Grab, grab, grab. But watch what happens. Okay, he made the wrong read. This guard is taking him, looping around. He should be whipping around this way, and of course you'd see a lot bigger play. Typical common mistake by the halfback, and this is why we have him grab the jersey. This would have whipped him around, and then he would have burst. Right when you hear the boop, click of the pads, you're bursting up the sideline for a touchdown. But this is a physical kid. You get this a lot. Kids that like to hit, they'll tend to want to cut it in and search people out to hit. This is another good path by the strong guard. Note how he's going to hug the wings block. It's a good job by the halfback to stay on the quick guard's outside hip as well. Okay, so we're running the buck sweep this way. I'm going to get down, down. Here's our quick guard right here, or strong guard. Again, this is one of our, see, now we got, we talked about tempo a little bit. They're bringing the blitz, they're stemming a little bit, so when we do this audible type stuff, we can get into a good play. You can see we're audibling at the line. Here comes our strong guard. Okay, you can see how he's crossing over right there. That's a good footwork. So first step was at 5. Second is crossing over. Notice our shoulders are pretty square. And again, we call it a square pull because we want our shoulders square to the line of scrimmage, but that will never happen. This is pretty typical of your angle of your shoulders are going to be. Watch him hug right off this wings block. Not a very good footwork by the wing. Climb, 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 and we're climbing as quick as we can. Look for somebody. Now in this particular case, we get a great seal by the tight end and the wing. Recovers pretty well, and we're able to get outside. All right, let's take a look at the halfback. Okay, so after he gets the ball, the quarterback's reading that 5 technique, the halfback's responsibility for the mesh. Okay, so he's in pretty good position. This is later in the year. We don't make him grab the jersey all year if he doesn't want to. He's a veteran, but he's about an arm's length outside of that guard. And this is another key reason, you know, a lot of buck sweep teams have a problem with that A-gap run through. Well, if you are this direction on the guard, he can't get to that A-gap and get to that halfback. They're shielded off. These guys should be here and here in that guy's way. So if you're getting the A-gap run through, talk to your halfback. Okay, so this is pretty good position. We'd like him a little bit tighter. We're able to get the outside. He sees open daylight, he's gone. Again, this is a kid that likes the contact, so he's not necessarily scoring, he's looking to hit people. You get those every once in a while. This is good footwork and path by the quick guard. Note how he pins the chin and he's looking inside first and how he runs through his blocks. So this is important, is the quick guards a lot of time will want to just try to launch themselves and get a Bruin block, or we call a pancake blocks, Bruin blocks. He's got to step on his toes. Now here's a good example also of the halfback grabbing the jersey. Okay, so we're going to check out the quick guard's block this time. So here's your quick guard. We're running the buck sweep to the tight end wing side. I guess we're going the other way. All right, so we flop. Another reason, a good point is to, this kid was very good. His dad played in the professionals. We didn't want to run against him. This is a team that goes right and left, so they always put him to the tight end wing side, so we're going to flop. So we flop our tight end wing so we can run away from him. Plus it gives us, on those 4-3 teams, gives us good angles on that other side. So that's why we're flopping on this particular case. But we're going to get a good sail by the tight end wing. This is our quick guard now. Okay, so flat. First step was flat. Second step, glided out. He's trying to get as deep as this guard right here. Okay, watch him pin the chin. Snap his head around. He's looking inside. You can see the halfback. His hand position is a good position. He's grabbing the jersey, and that's going to whip him around. Watch our quick guard this time, staying on his path after he pins his chin. Okay, so pretty good. Flat, fast, glide to get some depth. Halfback's reaching out to grab that jersey. That's going to help him with his speed, help him with his reads. Now we're not launching ourselves. We are running through, stepping on his toes and running through him. Stay on your feet and just keep running. On this film clip, we're going to see a good log block by the strong guard. So we get this technique a lot these days, is this defensive end. We're going to line him up past the wing. We're down blocking. He's going to wrong arm technique, and he's coming hard, and he's going to try to wrong arm it. We see this a lot with the interior defensive tackles and stuff doing this to our trap. But now we're seeing it more and more with the defensive ends in our league. Okay, so you see him sneaking past the wing, and he's going to try to just blow this play up. Now, if we were to try to root him out and just get our head up in the hole, it's really a hard cut for our halfback. He's got to stop on a dime and then hit this hole. So we don't teach that anymore. This is something recently we started doing. It was just too hard for our halfbacks. Okay, you see him trying to wrong arm that. So it's an easy block from our guard. We're going to punch inside to the sternum to prevent him from getting too much penetration. And then the other hand's going to wheel around and just get our hips around, and then we're by him. Okay? The key coaching point on the log block is after you wheel your hips around is to accelerate your feet. And his momentum will just take him out of there. Now, watch this coaching point is if you get a kick out block by your guard, your halfback has to cut it back. So he's going to get a kick out block. Anytime you get that kick out block, wind it back. Now he'd get more yardage if he was a little bit tighter, because then he would be making this cut right here. We want to scrape paint, we call it, right off your block. So we should be running this right in here. A little bit too wide. One more time. Log comes outside. Typically when we get a log, we're going to turn it up. But in this particular case, we're getting a lot of flow outside. Guard has to kick out. We'd like to get his head up in the hole a little bit more. When you hear that click of the pads, you got to just trust, and you just got to burst as fast as you can. That's when you get that extra gear. All right, here's a good log block by the strong guard, a good wrap by the quick guard. Now notice the halfback grabbing the jersey on this one. This is a beginning of the year. Okay, so here's our strong guard. He's going to get a good log block. Okay, you see that guy closing in. He's trying to squeeze down. We're a little off balance, but again, when they're trying to blow up the play, it's an easier block for us. We don't have to be perfect. We're just whipping our hips around and getting our feet going as quick as we can. As long as that halfback is on that outside shoulder away from the guard, notice him grabbing on there, that's going to whip him around like a water skier. You hear that click of the pads, you got to burst. One more time. Whip around, burst. Okay, so this was a all-star game. We had five days to get these all-star kids ready to play. We're playing a neighboring state, so it's the top 40 athletes in our state against a neighboring state. So you see a lot of common mistakes on the Bucksweep here. So this is some of the common mistakes we see with some of our younger kids. So number one is the quick guard not pinning his chin looking inside. So notice on this one, if you run the sweep fast, it's hard for the linebacker to make the play. You're going to see an A-gap run through on this one. And again, 5 days to teach these guys how to run this. Well, they're pretty good athletes, so. Okay, we're trying to get in a good play. Okay, so watch this backside quick guard. Big common mistake. You should be snapping his chin around right now, but if you notice, his momentum's just going. Now, no one blocks this linebacker, but if you run the play fast, you know, you got a shot to make some yardage regardless. So watch the quick guard again. Check out his footwork here. Pretty good, flat and fast, getting depth, but not looking inside. You can see this linebacker, he's going to scrape over the top. No one's blocking him. But if you run the play fast, and if that halfback is arm's length from that guard. Notice where he is. He's going to get over here. So you got your guard here, and then your halfback, so that linebacker has to go through that guard. If he's trailing right here, he scrapes through. So if you're getting a lot of the A-gap run through, get that halfback on the other side of the guard. You're not running it fast enough. One more time. All right, here's the all-star game again. Common mistake, the quick guard not getting his head up into the hole and not climbing. Oh, I'm sorry, this is the strong. This should say the strong guard. So watch the strong guard. This is typically what we see a lot of. Watch our strong guard. He's climbing, but he doesn't get his head up into that hole. So what that does, if this guy was playing him head up, he's able to slide off and make that play. It's a good read by the running back. He got a kick out block by his quick guard. Boom, so we're going to burst it up and wind it back. One more time, it's a pretty good look of it. Again, get your head up in the hole. Accelerate your feet when you make contact. Alright, so here's the quick tackle blocking assignment. Well, we call it a stovepipe. And I guess in Montana we have a lot of wood stoves. Some of you warm state coaches might want to call it something different, but we call it that because that's what our kids can visualize. What that means is we're taking this path. Wood stove has a little pipe that goes up through your roof, and here's where all your smoke goes. So we call that a stovepipe block. His responsibility is he's going to block the safety over the hole. Now, if there is a 3 technique sitting right here, we're going to change and read the 3 technique. A lot of the spread teams, you watch Oregon this year, they love reading the 3 technique. So we're going to make a steal call. If we get this 3 technique, we're going to block out and we'll read the 3 technique. So we're going to teach the quarterback and the quick tackle together. The quarterback's pre-snap read is the bubble screen. He got the bubble screen. Again, we talked about this in the first video. If he's got the bubble screen, he's going to throw it. He knows his buddy out there, the bubble screen guy. They've been going to school for several years now. They know each other's speed, and they know each other better than any kind of rule. So if you got the bubble screen, if you could beat that flat defender, then throw the bubble screen. So his job is to secure the snap and you're going to ride the halfback, keeping your eyes on your read. Now the running back is responsible for the mesh point, so not the quarterback. So it's anytime you get a bad mesh or it doesn't look good or you don't get a good fake or a good ride, it's the halfback's fault. And we call this near foot, near foot. So we're going to ride the halfback as here's your quarterback. As he gets the ball and he's riding it through, he's going to take a near foot, he's going to shuffle, and then if he's pulling it, he's going. This gives us a better ride. When we first started running this, everybody would take their 5 technique and just chase down, and our quarterback would make big yardage. Then they stopped doing that. They just sat the end right there, and he just sat and waited. So what we've gone to now, if we take this shuffle, we tend to get this end to close in a little bit more. So you get your big plays when your quarterback pulls it, and that's what we want. We want our quarterback to pull it. Those are your big plays. So we call that near foot, near foot. Now if there's a 3 technique, our quarterback's got to listen for the steal call. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a minute. So his key then would be the 3 technique. And we don't teach, we talked about this in the other video. If we got a 3 technique, our rule is we used to say if you see his ear hole, then pull it. If you see his face mask, give it. But what we just teach him is each quarterback's different. We got quick quarterbacks. We got slow quarterbacks. We don't know what we're going to get year in, year out. We can't recruit our kids. So if he can beat him, that's our read. If we have a steal call on, steal call is quick tackle is going to block out on the will. He's no longer taking his stovepipe. And then we're reading the 3 technique. If you can beat him and replace him, you're going. Now that goes same thing with the 5 technique. If you got a 5 technique and that's the guy we're reading, then if you can beat this guy, then go for it. All right, so his rule is if you can beat him, outside, then pull. If you give, you got to carry out your waggle path. And then you're going to watch the free safety doing it. The other reason we'll do a near foot is to set up our waggle. And we'll talk about that in the last video. So it's near foot. We're opening and we're waggling out and we're looking at the safety and see what he's doing. Is he cheating? Is he flying up there to stop the guard G? Then it's the quarterback's responsibility to tell the coaches, hey, I think it's time to run the waggle. So here's coming to some of the married techniques. We kind of married these guys together, the quick tackle and the quarterback. So again, halfback is crossing. He's got to be a yard in front. Halfback's responsibility for the mesh. We are reaching the ball out here. And then we're near footing. We're shuffle step, open, get around the edge. And again, you're pulling it if you can beat the end. So typically what we used to get is this. He would just slant in. We're getting these big runs. So now we're getting this guy just to sit and wait, which is great. Now when we run the buck sweep under center, we don't have to block this guy either. But it's a great way of running the buck sweep is from the gun, so you don't have to block a defender. All right, and then we're running across, blocking the safety over the hole. So when that halfback catches that guard, and then we wind it back right in here. We get bigger plays. Buck sweep's a great play because you're bringing 2 extra guys from across the field to help out play side. And of course, the quarterback always has the bubble, so that's his first read. And then his second read is this. Third is to hand it off. So on a steal call, if we got a 3 technique, we like to run, if we get a lot of 3 techniques, we like to run the buck sweep out of this formation, forcing this guy to reduce out. Now, if he doesn't reduce out, first of all, if he reduces out, great, and then we have a great steal call. He chases, we pull up right in this hole. Steal calls, the quick tackle makes the call. He's blocking out. The quarterback's got to listen to that, and plus he's got to notice the 3 technique as well. Now, you may get teams that keep that guy inside. That's when you got to throw the football. If he isn't going to reduce, you got to start throwing that ball out here in the bubble screen. You got one-on-one. He's got the hardest job in the world. The hardest thing to do in football these days is to make an open field tackle. People don't teach it well enough anymore, and if you got a quick kid here, one move, he's gone. You're getting big yards out here. You got a lot of green grass. Typically what we'll get teams doing now, they'll keep him back. They're going to man up, but they'll bring this safety up so he can run the bubble screen down. So what you can do is run a 4 screen. So we're blocking here. We throw it right here, and then we just make a quick move right in there. But you got to have a plan for those 3 cases of defenses. All right, so back to the steal call. We'll make it really hard on us here. So we could get this. We're manned up. These guys are out of the play. Maybe they got some great DBs. We're going to read the 3 technique. We're going to make a steal call, so we're blocking this guy. All right, so if we chase, we're coming right in here. Typically, I know you're thinking, well, this guy's going to kill my quarterback. Well, typically, he's got this pull. He's got to go with him. If he isn't going with him, you should be running the football from under center, because this guy isn't doing anything. He's sitting there. This guy's sitting there. Great. Then we'll run it from under center. But there's a lot of other things you can do if this guy worries you. But typically what we get is him trying to chase the play down, reading the pulling guard. And again, if he's not reducing out, bring another guy over there or run it from no backs or an empty set to get him to reduce out. All right, here's the Bucksweep bubble. This is the pre-snap. Read the bubble screen and we're going to throw it quick. Notice the halfback's going to carry out his fakes. We went over the bubble screen in the first video, so we're not going to go over it too much here. But this is how we want to do it. Get the ball off as quick as we can. Notice the halfback, everybody's running the Bucksweep. No one knows any different. But if they're going to give you, okay, they're not going to reduce the guy out, making it harder on your reads. Your bubble screen's got to be open. Get the ball out there as quick as you can. And real quick on our steps, it's if you remember from the first video, we're inside foot is up, we're stepping back with the outside, crossing over, and we're 45 degrees. The quarterback is throwing it to a spot. As long as we can get the block on number 1, we're running away from number 2. And make sure you work on your celebrations. This is a good path by the quick tackle blocking the safety over the hole. Note how the quarterback can his fake can control the quick side B-gap blitz. You're going to get a B-gap blitz by the linebacker. So first thing we're going to watch is the quick tackle blocking the safety over the hole. And this is another reason why we don't have to have a big guy here. We want a guy that can move though. Okay, he's taking a little stovepipe. He's looking, his eyes are always on that linebacker, and then make a little block. And we're just cutting right off his block. Okay, let's take a look at the quarterback. We're getting a B-gap blitz here. Quarterback can take care of this. Could be a problem. But again, we can run waggles off that as well, so they got to honor that. They're bringing a blitz. Everybody probably should have thrown the bubble screen. Watch the quarterback. Okay, after he makes his handoff, get your hands together and take your boot path or your waggle path. And that doesn't take much. We run this pretty fast. If those guys hesitate for a second, we're gone. All right, here's a steal call. The quarterback's going to read the 3 technique and he's going to keep it. Okay, so here's our quick side right here. We got a 3 technique, we got a 5, we got the bandit right here. So we're going to make a steal call. We're going to block out. We're going to read this 3 technique. Whoops. Now this quarterback's a pretty good athlete, so normally we want to hit it up right up in this hole. He sees a hole outside, that's fine. Not going to tell a good running back how to run. One more time. Here's another steal call. The quarterback's going to read the 3 technique. Okay, so here's our tight end wing. We still have the bubble option. Probably should throw the bubble. Here's our 3 technique right in here. So steal call means he's going to block out. You can see the 3 techniques chasing the pulling guard, just like his coach taught. This is typically what we get. We get the linebackers keying the guards and they're flowing out of there. Quarterback's got this little seam right here. He's not our fastest quarterback we've had. If you got a kid that's got some burst on him, boom. All right, here's a buck sweep from an empty set. The quarterback still has 3 options out of this. Okay, so we have a 3 technique. So we are going to make a steal call, I believe. So he can choose. He's still reading that 3 technique. He can bang it up here. He can run the buck sweep. He can throw the bubble. Probably should throw the bubble, but we got him outnumbered. Kid likes running though. Now, if the 3 technique's giving you a lot of problems, there's a lot of stuff you can do. If you don't want to make a steal call, let's say you don't see the a 3 technique a lot in your league, maybe you just want to cut him. But you're going to have to do something to slow him down. It's pretty hard for the guard or the center to block all the way back. We'll also talk a little bit more about some techniques you can use if you're worried about the 3 technique. This particular case, he's just getting upfield. We don't cut him. We don't have to do anything. He takes himself out of the play. All right, so a lot of teams are worried about A-gap run through, and that's why a lot of wing T teams don't run the buck sweep anymore. They've gone more to the rocket toss and the jet sweep. And, if you run it, like we talked about, if the halfback is in good position with that guard, your A-gap run through are going to be minimal. All right, so this is usually not a problem for us. Notice the quarterback's poor fake. Since there's no fullback to fill for the gun, you're going to need a plan for this. Okay, so you're going to see an A-gap run through on the strong side here. All right, so we're audibling. They declared their blitz. I think we wanted to throw the bubble, but we're on the short side. You can see this guy, this Mike Backer's going to come through the A-gap right in here. He's going full speed. Here he comes. He's pretty fast. But if we're running this fast, you can't time it any better. He almost gets there. We still can make some yardage. So one more time. Still make 5. Now, if you got an A-gap blitz, that's a problem. But typically, like I said, if he's 4 or 5 yards back, we don't have too much problems with it in our conference. So here's what's going to happen. We got a blitz coming. This is a problem. If he's coming up there and he's sneaking up, he's going to blow up the play. Like any run game, any kind of penetration will kill any run play, especially the buck sweep. So what we do is we make a stay call when we get a blitz. And if this guy's giving you a problem, A-gap all the time, this guy's going to make a stay call. So we talked about this already in the first video. Generally, he's kicking out the first guy outside the wing. The second guard is wrapping around on this guy. So essentially what they're doing is swapping responsibilities. He's going to kick out, and he's going to block this guy. So on our stay call, he notices the blitz. All he has to do is say, stay, stay, stay. This guy picks up on that. We're blocking solid. A lot of teams call this a load. Okay, you see him right there. We pick it up. Here's our backside guard. He now has to kick out somebody. Okay, we're kicking out right there, and we still can run the play. Here's another thing you can do if you do not like, if you're getting a lot of blitz. From under center, the buck sweep load, you know, you have the quarterback here, you got the fullback here, and the fullback load blocks. Keep him on a stay, or a lot of people call it the power, buck sweep power. So you can run that out of the gun as well if you got a good running quarterback. Put your halfback over here. He's not there anymore. Then he's going to load block. And then quarterback turns into gets the ball. We're staying. We're wrapping around. And then your quarterback runs it. Or just for fun, put your quarterback over here and have him block out. So that's another option. You can, if you want to still run the buck sweep load. We're not going to talk, we don't have too much video on that though. One last time. Stay call. So also, if Mike is too close that he can do a run through, we'll make a stay call. You can see right here, this is the Mike backer. Their game plan was we're going to try to run right through here where the guard is leaving. We're going to overload this, so he has to block down. We have to block down here. Let's just run right through this gap. Center's got to fill right here. So we're going to make a stay call. So our guard's going to just stay. We're going to block. Again, he's going to swap responsibilities. Normally, this guy would pick up him. He would kick out whoever's showing past the wing. Now they're going to swap responsibilities. Okay. Okay, stay call, so we can pick up the blitz or the close Mike for a run through. We're going to kick out. Kick out right there. Still have a shot at making a pretty good play. Quarterback still reading it. Common mistake. Quarterback watching the play. All right, so you're still worried about the A-gap run through and unblock 3 techniques. We like running this bunch set, and we're going to fake the crisscross reverse. This team likes to run the smash blitz. We talked about that. Smash blitz beaters in the first video. Real quick, smash blitz, what we get is we're going to get the 5 technique to slant across. We're going to get the will to cheat out here. We're going to get the Mike to just really blow up the play. So if you got a 3 technique that's bothering you, you can use this play. Or if you get a lot of blitz to the quick side, let's say this 3 technique is really coming down and giving you problems. So what we'll do is we'll run from the double wing look here, the bunch wing. We still got to have somebody blocking down. But we're going to fake the crisscross reverse right here, and he's just going to wham block. What that does is it's going to freeze. It's got to freeze your 3 technique, so you won't have to block the 3 technique. You still got the steal call. But he'll either wham block the 3 technique, or he'll come by and fill for any smash or fire zone blitzes, whatever you want to call that blitz. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so we got a blitz coming. We're bringing a lot of heat to the quick side, wide side of the field. All right, we make a little fake on our crisscross reverse, and then we're going to get a little wham block to, otherwise you probably would have chased us down. This way we don't have to load block or anything like that. We still can pull both guards. Get a good seal by the wing. One last time. You don't have to run this from the double wing set. You can put a guy in motion, one of your wide receivers out there, and wham block on him, whatever you want to do. Great complement, works great from the gun. This is a play where you don't need as much technique. On the Bucksweep, you need a lot of technique. You got to go over it and over it. This play is set up by its parent play, which is the Bucksweep, so we don't need to put a lot of time into it, because the misdirection lends to the play itself. So basic blocking. We like this when we have a 3 technique. So when we get a 3 technique, we'll run this play a bunch. So we're going to combo back to the Mike. Center finally gets an easy job. He's going to block back on the nose. We're stepping at 7 o'clock. Flat pull, just like his Bucksweep path. And we're climbing as quick as we can. Now the key to the play, key to the play is the quarterback. I'm going to get to that here in a minute. So we're blocking, we're protecting for the pulling tight end. Tight end, same pull steps as the quick guard on the Bucksweep. He's going to take 2 flat, one flat one with your inside foot. Second one is flat. Then on your third step, you're going to push off and get as deep as the pulling guard. We want to wrap up and get inside. The common mistake we get from the tight ends is this guy is flowing out of there and he doesn't have anybody to block. So common mistake we have is him stopping in the hole looking for people to block. So you got to teach him to stay on his path. If no one's there, you just keep running. We still have the bubble screen off this. All right, the key to the play is the quarterback. He's got to make a good fake. He's going his near foot. His hands are together and he's pushing the line as fast as he can. If he can get this guy to step out, to widen this hole a little bit, that's when the play goes. So the key to this is the quarterback. So you really got to teach this over and over to get that quarterback. They want to hand the ball off and just watch the play. So he's got to get his eyes downfield and he's got to be sprinting and attacking that line of scrimmage to get that defensive end to get upfield. All right, some quick coaching points. We talked about them already. Drop step to 7 o'clock and start climbing. We're going to take our square pull and we're going to kick out the end man of line of scrimmage. Make sure he gets his head up into the hole. Common mistake we see is that defensive end chasing the quarterback and then this guy chasing him. He should just turn up, stay on his path. Tight end, too flat and fast. Push off on your second step, glide to get a little depth, just like on the buck sweep with the guard. Turn up in the B gap. Again, don't stop running and don't be surprised if there's no one to block. Halfback technique is, we call it the forklift. You're going to take both elbows, pin them into your rib cage, and your hands look like a forklift. They're at 90 degrees, just slightly below 90 degrees, maybe 95 degrees. And we're getting it and we're pinning the ball against our chest. So forklift, elbows in, palms are looking up to the sky. The ball is placed in our stomach and we're pinning the ball to our chest with both hands. So this way he can open up his hands and hand it to the wing as quick as we can. We'll see some of this on film. Wing, you're going to drop step and follow your tight end. Read his block and work to the outside hip. Each wing's a little bit different. Some like to just delay. Some step down like they're blocking. We let the wing do whatever they want to get into timing. Sometimes we have fast wings. They have to slow down a little bit more. Quarterbacks, you're the key to the play. You must carry out your waggle fake. All right, and then he's got to get his hands together, pump his elbows like he's got something. You're blocking the defensive end with your fake. All right, so here's the crisscross reverse. The guard has a long trap. Usually happens pretty quick though. Tight end must not stop running. Here's a common mistake is for him stopping in the hole. There's no one to block. All right, first of all, let's take a look at the halfback's technique. All right, so he gets the ball. See both elbows in? His palms are up to the sky. So he gets the ball, he pins it against his chest, then immediately he drops the forklift again and hands it off to the wing. Boom, boom. So it's quick. Boom, boom. All right, so you can see the common mistake here, the tight end. First off, we didn't take a very good step. Quarterback gives a terrible fake. He's handing off and just watching the play. We want to be attacking the line of scrimmage. But you can see watch the tight end on this rep here. He's not going very fast. We would like to speed that up a little bit. But see how he stopped in the hole? He's looking around. He doesn't have anybody to block. Now he's in the way. So he's just got to keep running. He probably would pick up that free safety. All right, one more time. So again, this is not how we want to teach the quarterbacks. This is a young kid. We'd want to near foot, hand it off, and then we're sprinting over here. And then we wouldn't have to block this guy. But again, you run the buck sweep well. You don't have to get this play perfect. All right, so we're running the crisscross reverse to this quick side here. Here's your defensive end. Again, the quarterback doesn't make a great fake, but he gets enough just to get this guy upfield. If we can get him upfield a little bit, it widens that hole. It makes this guy's block a lot easier. What we don't want to let happen is this guy just, after this we get this down block, is we squeeze down. That's a really tough block. Then what we have to do, what we teach is we log this one. And we also teach our tight end, we get a log block, we're wrapping it up outside. Okay, so watch the quarterback, not a great fake, but it's going to be enough to get him upfield. See that little step? Get your hands together, attack the line. We would want him attacking the line. He doesn't want to get any contact there. All right, good job by the tight end, staying on his path, finding somebody to block. Good read by the fullback or our wing. And you can make this play a good play to substitute in someone quick. In this particular one, we have our fullback in here. This is more of a power play for us. Oftentimes, we'll put a quick little wide receiver in there, and that's when we get the big plays. Kick out. We don't make a good block over there, but misdirection fools the nose enough where we can get some yards. All right, crisscross reverse. Now, if the defensive end is squeezing, then we're going to log him. So our rule is if the guard logs, tight end should wrap outside. So we're going to run it over on this side. This is a good play where you'd want to audible to. It's not a great blitz play. We do run it on the goal line. I think it's a good goal line play, but if you get a lot of penetration, it could be trouble. But we will, most of the time, probably about 75% of the time, we audible this. One of our packages that we talked about in the first video, we'll either run the Bucksweep or the crisscross. So this is what the quarterback's doing right now. He's audibling. So you can see him looking to the sideline. We're getting the call in. Anyways, we're coming down. There's a 3 technique. We're going to block out on this guy. Now, they do a good job of this guy squeezing down. Okay, so our guard does a good job of start climbing, and we're going to log him. Now our tight end should be wrapping around outside, and we should be outside. But again, we didn't rep this play enough with this kid, but we should be wrapping around outside, and then we're off to the races. So one more time, we get the log. Tight end should wrap around and be kicking out that guy. All right, you can run the crisscross reverse from an empty set. Quarterback still has the bubble option. This ensures the defense does not have you outnumbered on the quick side. So, again, we'll audible this play to see if we got the numbers advantage, but if you run it from an empty set, you're pretty ensured you're going to have the numbers advantage if you have 3 receivers out here. They better be reducing somebody out over here. All right, so if they reduce them out, we can hit up in this hole right in here. Now this, we don't like it as well from the empty set. Coaching point, it doesn't work as well because the quarterback, remember, is the key to the crisscross reverse. He's going to widen this guy. So when we do running out of the empty set, typically what we get now, this was last year, this year we're getting a lot of squeeze down. We're going to get a log block, and it's going to be more of an outside play. But here's the crisscross reverse from an empty set. Quarterback still has the bubble option on this. If he doesn't like the numbers, if we have the numbers advantage. And again, in this particular play, you can see the defensive end squeezing down. We probably would want to log this, and we want to bring our tight end up and around to the outside. But again, the misdirection of this play, if you get the buck sweep going, chances are you're going to get a pretty good play. Thanks for watching this second video in the 3-video installment. Hopefully this is going to generate some discussion within your staff and help you improve your running game as well as your passing game. If If you want more information on the shotgun wing tee, go to shotgunwingtee.com.